Welcome to Lesson 6 of Week 11, focusing on significance criteria. This lesson examines how to address the fundamental question every reviewer asks. So what? Why does this proposed work matter, and why should this program invest resources in it? Significance is a core evaluation criterion across most federal funding programs. Reviewers assess whether the problem you address is important, whether solving it would make a meaningful difference, and whether your proposed contribution justifies the investment. Strong significance arguments convince reviewers that your work deserves funding because it matters. Many applicants focus heavily on what they will do and how they will do it, while underinvesting in explaining why it matters. This is a critical mistake. Reviewers who are not convinced of significance will not enthusiastically support your proposal, regardless of how elegant your methods are. If the problem does not matter, solving it does not matter. By the end of this lesson, you will understand what reviewers look for in significance arguments. You will learn to articulate why problems matter at multiple levels. You will know how to connect your work to broader impacts. You will develop skills for making compelling significance cases that resonate with reviewers. Note that significance criteria vary across programs. Always review your specific NOFO for guidance. This lesson has 4 primary learning objectives. First, you will understand what reviewers assess when evaluating significance. Knowing what questions reviewers are asking helps you provide the answers they need to score significance highly. Second, you will learn to articulate why the problem you address matters. This involves demonstrating the scope of the problem, the consequences of leaving it unsolved, and the populations or fields affected. You must make the case that this problem deserves attention. Third, you will learn to connect your proposed work to broader impacts on the field. Significance extends beyond solving your immediate problem to how that solution advances the field, benefits society, or enables future progress. Fourth, you will develop skills to convince reviewers that your contribution justifies investment. Significance is about justifying why this work merits the resources requested. Your argument must be compelling enough that reviewers advocate for funding your proposal. Understanding the significance question helps you frame your response appropriately. The core question significance addresses is why does this matter to the field, not why it matters to you or your organization, but why it matters broadly. What difference would it make if this problem were solved? Who would benefit? How would the field advance? Reviewer perspective considers whether funding this proposal would make a meaningful difference. Reviewers are stewards of limited resources. They want to fund work that matters, that will move the field forward, that will create value justifying the investment. Beyond interest requires demonstrating importance, not just that the topic is interesting. Many topics are intellectually interesting, but do not rise to the level of importance that justifies significant funding. Your work must be important enough that solving it merits priority over other important work competing for the same funds. Investment justification means the significance must be worth the resources requested. A modestly significant problem might justify modest funding but not a major grant. The significance must match the scale of the request. Strong significance arguments address multiple elements that together build a compelling case. Problem scope establishes how widespread or severe the problem is. How many people are affected? How serious are the effects? What is the economic, health, or social burden? Scope establishes that the problem is big enough to matter. Consequences describe what happens if the problem remains unsolved. What is at stake? What will be lost? What opportunities will be missed? Articulating consequences creates urgency and helps reviewers understand why this cannot wait. Gap identification shows what is missing in current knowledge or practice that your proposal would address. What do we not know that we need to know? What cannot we do that we need to be able to do? The gap is the specific deficit your proposal targets. Impact potential describes how solving this problem would advance the field. What becomes possible once this gap is filled? How will the field be different? What follow-on developments might occur? Impact extends significance beyond the immediate problem to broader advancement. Demonstrating problem scope requires quantifying the problem convincingly. Quantify the problem using statistics that show its magnitude. How many people are affected? What percentage of the population? What is the economic burden? What is the mortality or morbidity rate? Numbers make scope concrete rather than abstract. Multiple dimensions strengthen your case by addressing prevalence, severity, costs, and trends. A problem might be prevalent but not severe, or severe but rare. Addressing multiple dimensions shows comprehensive understanding and builds a more complete picture of significance. Authoritative sources lending credibility to your statistics are essential. CDC data, peer-reviewed publications, government reports, and recognized authorities carry weight. Statistics from unknown or questionable sources undermine rather than strengthen your argument. Relevant scale focuses on populations or contexts the funder cares about. If you are applying to NIH, health impacts matter most. If applying to the Department of Education, educational impacts matter most. Frame scope in terms that resonate with the funding agency's mission. Articulating consequences helps reviewers understand what is at stake. Human impact describes how the problem affects real people in tangible ways. Disease causes suffering. Educational gaps limit opportunity. Environmental degradation harms communities. Connecting to human impact makes significance personal and compelling. System effects show how the problem burdens systems, institutions, or infrastructure. Healthcare systems strained by preventable disease, schools overwhelmed by unmet needs, government agencies unable to fulfill their missions. System-level consequences matter to funders who support those systems. Economic costs quantify the financial burden the problem creates. Direct costs of treatment, remediation, or response. Indirect costs of lost productivity, reduced economic activity, or diverted resources. Economic framing resonates with funders accountable for public resources. Opportunity costs describe what is lost by not solving this problem. Scientific advances delayed, treatments not available, solutions not implemented. Opportunity costs capture what could be but is not while the problem persists. Identifying the gap specifies exactly what is missing that your proposal addresses. Knowledge gaps describe what we do not know that we need to know. Perhaps mechanisms are not understood. Perhaps effects have not been measured. Perhaps relationships have not been established. Knowledge gaps motivate research that will fill them. Method gaps describe tools or approaches that are lacking. Current methods may be inadequate, inaccurate, expensive, or inaccessible. Developing better methods creates value by enabling what existing methods cannot. Practice gaps describe what practitioners cannot do that they need to do. Evidence may exist but not be implemented. Tools may exist but not be accessible. Connecting research to practice gaps strengthens significance for applied programs. Gap specificity precisely defines what is missing. Vague statements about gaps are less compelling than precise identification of exactly what is lacking. Be specific about the deficit your proposal addresses so reviewers understand exactly what you will contribute. Connecting your work to broader impact extends significance beyond the immediate project. Field advancement describes how solving this problem moves the field forward. What debates will be resolved, what new understanding will emerge, what capabilities will be developed. Your contribution should advance the collective enterprise, not just your own work. Future research enabled by your work extends impact beyond your project. Will your findings open new research directions? Will your methods enable new studies? Will your results generate new questions? Catalyzing future work multiplies your contribution. Practice translation shows how your work will improve practice in the field. Will practitioners be able to do something better? Will patients receive improved care? Will students learn more effectively? Connecting to practice demonstrates real-world relevance. Societal benefit describes broader benefits resulting from your work. Will health improve? Will economic conditions improve? Will quality of life improve? Connecting to societal benefit shows that your work matters beyond the academic or professional field. Writing effective significance statements requires strategic structure and presentation. Opening impact grabs reviewers with your strongest significance argument. The first sentences of your significance section should establish that this matters. Do not bury your best arguments. Lead with them. Logical flow builds from problem to gap to solution to potential impact. Establish that a significant problem exists. Show that a gap in addressing it remains. Indicate that your proposal addresses this gap. Describe the impact of filling this gap. This flow creates a coherent significance narrative. Evidence-based writing supports claims with citations and data. Do not assert significance, demonstrate it. Every claim about importance should be backed by evidence. Reviewers give more credit to supported claims than unsupported assertions. Clear connection links significance explicitly to your proposed work. Significance of the general topic is not enough. You must show how your specific proposal addresses the significant problem. Reviewers should see clearly how funding your work advances the significant goal. Avoiding common significance mistakes strengthens your arguments. Assumed significance expects reviewers to already know why your work matters. Even expert reviewers benefit from explicit articulation of significance. Do not assume they will fill in significance arguments you have not made. Field confusion mistakes significance to your narrow subfield for broad significance. Your specific research question may be important within a specialized area, but not obviously significant more broadly. Translate subfield significance into broader terms reviewers from other areas will appreciate. Vague claims make general statements about importance without specific evidence. Phrases like "this is an important problem" or "this work could have significant impact" mean little without specifics. What specifically makes it important? What specifically is the potential impact? Disconnection occurs when you establish that a topic is significant, but do not clearly show how your specific proposal addresses that significance. The significant problem must connect directly to what you propose to do. Reviewers should see the link clearly. Significance framing should align with what each agency values. NIH significance emphasizes impact on health, disease burden, and clinical practice. Will this reduce suffering? Will it improve health outcomes? Will it advance our ability to prevent or treat disease? Health-focused framing resonates with NIH reviewers. NSF significance encompasses both intellectual merit and broader impacts. Intellectual merit addresses advancement of knowledge. Broader impacts address benefits to society, education, and broadening participation. NSF requires explicit attention to both dimensions. Department of Education significance focuses on educational outcomes and equity. Will this improve student achievement? Will it reduce disparities? Will it strengthen educational systems? Educational framing matters for education department programs. Agency alignment means framing your significance in terms the specific agency values. The same underlying work might be framed as advancing health knowledge for NIH, advancing scientific understanding for NSF, or improving educational outcomes for education. Match your framing to your audience. Preliminary data can strengthen your significance arguments when used strategically. Feasibility evidence shows your approach can work, reinforcing that pursuing this significant problem is worthwhile. If preliminary data show promising results, reviewers have more confidence that the significant potential can be realized. Gap confirmation uses data to demonstrate the gap actually exists. If you claim current methods are inadequate, pilot data showing their limitations strengthens that claim. Data-supported gap arguments are more compelling than assertions alone. Effect size estimates from preliminary work suggest the potential magnitude of impact. If pilot results show a particular effect size, reviewers can envision the potential impact at scale. Larger potential effects strengthen significance arguments. Strategic selection means choosing preliminary data that most strengthens your significance argument. Not all data you have may be relevant to significance. Select and present data that directly support the claims you are making about why this work matters. Anticipating reviewer questions helps you address significance comprehensively. Why now asks what makes this work timely or urgent. Has something changed that creates opportunity or need? Is there a window that might close? Are conditions ripe in a way they were not before? Timeliness can strengthen significance. Why this approach asks why your particular proposal is the right way to address the significant problem. Among possible approaches, why is yours particularly promising or valuable? This connects significance to your specific proposed work. Who benefits identifies who will gain from this work and how they will benefit. Be specific about beneficiaries. Patients with a particular condition, students in particular settings, practitioners in a particular field. Specific beneficiaries make significance concrete. What changes asks, what will be different if this work succeeds? What capability will exist that does not now? What knowledge will be established? What practice will improve? Articulating concrete changes helps reviewers envision the significance realized. When significance arguments are weak, specific strategies can strengthen them. Add data to strengthen claims with additional evidence. If your significance arguments rely heavily on assertion, find data to support them. Statistics, citations, and evidence transform weak claims into strong ones. Broaden scope by connecting your specific focus to larger populations or problems. If your immediate target is narrow, show how it connects to broader significance. A study of one condition might illuminate mechanisms relevant to many conditions. Clarify connections between the significant problem and your proposal. If the link is not obvious, make it explicit. Show exactly how your proposed work addresses the significance you have established. Reviewers should see the connection clearly. Highlight urgency by emphasizing timeliness and consequences of delay. If there is genuine urgency, articulate it. Why must this be addressed now? What is lost by waiting? Urgency adds weight to significance arguments. Let us summarize the key points from this lesson on significance criteria. Significance addresses the so what question, answering why your proposed work matters. Reviewers need to be convinced that the problem is important, that solving it would make a meaningful difference, and that your proposal represents a valuable contribution. Making this case is essential for competitive proposals. Strong significance arguments combine multiple elements including problem scope, consequences of inaction, identification of gaps, and potential impact. Each element contributes to the overall case. Weak arguments in any element undermine the whole. Build comprehensive significance arguments that address all dimensions. Agency alignment means framing significance in terms your specific funder values. NIH cares about health impact. NSF cares about intellectual merit and broader impacts. Education cares about educational outcomes. Speak to what your audience values. In our next lesson, we will cover innovation criteria. You will learn how to address the new and novel factor, demonstrating what is innovative about your proposed work and why that innovation matters. Practice exercise. Write a 2-paragraph significance statement for a project in your area. In the first paragraph, establish the problem scope and consequences. In the second paragraph, identify the gap and describe the potential impact of filling it. Review what you wrote for evidence support and connection clarity.